Hi, I'm Miss Renee, and I am the founder of V.O.I.C.E S, Victims of Injustice in the Court, Empowered to Speak. And I am interviewing today Momo. And Momo is a victim of family court and CPS, and she has had her grandchildren kidnapped from her, trafficked across state lines, adopted out, and nobody lost their rights. We're going to hear her story today, and it's going to be one of the worst stories you've ever heard. And we've heard quite a few horror stories from CPS. All of us have experienced family court, but Momo's takes the cake. You're going to want to hear this. So we're going to start with some background information. First of all, Momo, let me just say that you're the prettiest grandma I've ever seen. And
Thank you.
so Momo had custody of her three grandchildren, physical custody, I should say, because they were having some family issues with the parents. Momo's son is the father of the children, and he and his girlfriend were living with Momo for quite some time. So she helped raise the grandchildren. So when the Momo's son and his significant other, got their lives together after they were living with her for a while. They moved away and started on their own path. Um, Shortly after that, Momo got a call that the mother had been murdered. And in a very tragic set of events, she had gotten involved in the wrong crowd, and we got that call that she had been murdered. Now, at this point in time, the father was living separate from the mother, so Momo was the next of kin, and they immediately connected with her, or she connected with them to get the grandchildren back into her house where they were used to being. And so, why don't you set everything up from there, Momo? Just how you got that night that you got custody of them and how that went down.
Um, I received a phone call, in the wee hours during the night, my time, and it was the police department, and the mother was deceased. So in the morning, I contacted CPS there where they had gone to, and immediately said, "Return the family home. Just no questions. Just bring them home." I had to go through all their protocol, all their licensing, all their tests, all their um, dotted I's, crossed T's, investigations, everything that they wanted me to do, I did it. In the meantime, it was during COVID, and I also lost my mom. So it was a difficult year. I didn't get the children to me until December 11th. That was the second time. The minute they pulled in my driveway, I don't even think the vehicle stopped completely, and the kids ran out and just attached to me. They were so happy to see me. They were so happy to be back in their home and in their own bedrooms and with their own belongings. Um, as days went by, the kids told me they lost their mom during COVID. Um, I didn't tell them any different, and I will not tell them the horrific details that happened to their mom. Um,
And so then CPS from now, so the kids had been, um, they took the kids and let you take custody of them, and they were just going to finalize all of your paperwork and all of your whatever classes you had to take, whatever they had to do to make you an official, because they were wards of the state when she passed away. They did not go to the father because they took away his rights without even consulting him.
correct.
Right. So they didn't even give the father a chance to take the children or to stake a claim on custody. They just automatically took away his rights, no due process. You didn't even know what happened. They just did
Mm-mm.
not even talk to him. But they did say they were going to give him to you, and everyone was in agreement for a while that they should definitely go to you. It made sense. There was no problem. All you had to do was go jump through all the bureaucratic hoops, and you would be their custodial parent. You were planning on adopting them.
Correct.
But CPS in when they had brought them from at the time the mother was residing in Texas and you were in Mexico. And so they brought the children to you and they started investigating you and stalking you from both states.
Yes.
There was someone, do we want to say her name in Texas that was sort of the chief CPS worker, or do we want to leave that out?
Uh, I think I'm going to leave it out because she had so many different names.
When you investigated her, you found that she had like 10 different aliases over the
Correct.
years, and she's a serial kidnapper.
Correct.
Now, the kidnapping that we're talking about that happened to you is called courtnapping. That's what I call it. It's kidnapping under the color of law when an official officer of the court, a CPS worker, um, takes children without due process so that they can get funding from the state, from the federal government, and they get kickbacks. You know, there's a quota and everything. They get kickbacks. The further they get them away from the biological family, the more kickbacks they get. So, this is a whole racketeering Ponzi scheme. Don't get me started, but for you, it's even more egregious because you've got CPS in Texas and CPS in Mexico, both of them colluding.
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yes, sorry. Both of them were colluding together to find something wrong with you. Now tell me the first clue, the first time you had a clue that a red flag when this woman who has 10 different names came to your door from, and she is from Texas, but she was the ringleader of both CPS organizations to try and find something wrong with you. When she came to your door the first time to see if you were an okay grandparent, what did she say to you?
She did not introduce herself, but she said, "Oh, I have me a pretty one now." What kind of introduction is that? She didn't give me her name. She didn't give me her credentials. Nothing. I knew right then and there that I was her victim.
Mhm. And the first thing she tried to accuse you of is being poor. Would you tell?
Yeah,
And you're
she
not
told
poor. You have a horse farm. You are clearly not poor. Tell us about that.
she told me I did not make enough money and I did not have enough money, and that the judge would not allow that, and no judge would allow her words for me to keep my grandchildren because I didn't have enough money.
Mhm.
She
She was clearly trying to get you to
yeah.
concede to giving them over to her so that she can traffic them, whatever she wanted to do with them. She clearly
Mhm.
had a hidden agenda. And that's what she thought, well, she's trying to tell you, well, you might as well not go to court because I'm going to get my way in court, not you, because he's going to think you're poor. And you have a husband, he has a full-time job, you have a horse farm, you are not poor. And even if you were poor, there is nothing in the Constitution that says poor people can't have children.
It's discrimination.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kids had their own bedrooms. You know,
Hmm.
they had their clean clothes. They had food on the table. They had bicycles. They had their own toys. They were going to counseling. They were in the equestrian center at the counseling. What That's where the incident happened. The last incident. Um, CPS from Texas had CPS New Mexico with first announced visits turned it to unannounced visits coming to my home, accusing me of having unauthorized company in my house without their knowledge. Um, they had me get my kids out of bed at 10:30 at night with a flashlight all over their bodies while they were half asleep, looking for marks on them.
So I want to talk about that because she stalked you for a long time trying to find something, because that's what they do. They
Yeah.
try to find
Mhm.
something. But she sent some burly man to your house in the
Yes.
middle of the night. The kids are in bed.
Yes.
She couldn't find anything, so she makes up this idea that you are abusive to the children. We don't know where it came from. There's no evidence of it, but she makes it up and she sends this guy. She says, "I want you to find marks on their body." This man, this burly man who you don't know who he is, comes to your door and he says that I was ordered by this woman who has 10 names, who works for CPS, to come and look at your children. So he comes in with a flashlight and looks at their bodies with a flashlight to find something wrong.
Yes. Exactly. And they were half asleep, and the poor kids were traumatized.
And so then the next thing they tried to accuse you of is take us from this point where you've got the flashlight guy to where you were ordered to get therapy for the children, because
Correct.
that's always part of the what do you call it, the plan, parenting plan, if you will. They were making you take parenting classes, and then the kids had to go to counseling because they're hoping to find the kids say something that they could twist. Okay, that's how why they do that. But you are a horse family, and so you put the little girl in horse therapy, equine assisted therapy. That's what my little girl goes to. It's very effective, and I love it. And I know from I we've been in we have after our family court issue, my little girl had such PTSD. That's why I put her in the horse therapy. She's been in it ever since, and that was several years ago. But at some point when she learned to ride, she did get bucked off. And that's part of the deal. And they said, that's just when you learn to ride, you're going to fall off the horse. That's part of the deal. And you were not in there with her. She was in it with a certified counselor, equine therapist, and she had an accident. Tell us about that. How did we get from the flashlight guy to, okay, now we're going to look into see if we can find something in therapy?
Yes, they were going to therapy. They were 8 months along in the therapy, which they loved it. They totally came out of their shell. They were looking forward to it. In fact, they would run to the animals, and they just absolutely loved it. The littlest one, she did fall. She was crying. Yes, it scared her, but she wanted to get back on the horse. Okay, she got back on the horse. And after that, she wanted freezer pops, and we gave her freezer pops, and all of them had freezer pops. It happened to be my birthday, and they wanted cake and ice cream, and they were looking forward to that. We didn't see any injuries serious on her, but I kept monitoring and I kept an eye on her. She was also wrestling her little brother, which she put him down on the ground. And she's taught, do not let boys bully girls. She's taught that. And the boys are to protect the little sister. Well, the following morning, we were going to school. I told the school the kid she had a fall at the therapist. If you see anything whatsoever, please contact me immediately. But she had already ran out of the car and went to her classmates. Um, I got a call from the school that she was hurting, and I turned immediately around and went to go get her. Took her to the doctor, which they were booked, booked, and booked. Still took her there. She was jumping and playing in the foyer, singing, talking to the patients in there. They were getting a kick out of a little girl, singing and playing with them. And they made arrangements for me to go to a small emergency hospital because things were still closed of COVID, and they were very cautious who they let in there. So we went over there, and turned out she had a hairline fracture. Okay, we took the necessary things that we had to do, and I wasn't even home 15 minutes, and they were pounding on my door. and removed all three of the kids. Um, while I was in the medical facility, there was a CPS worker that came in, and she told me to my face that I am a perpetrator. I'm not a perpetrator. This incident happened at the therapist in their care, and I did not cause the damage to the little one's arm.
It was court-ordered therapy.
Yes.
Court-ordered therapy. You didn't have anything to do with it.
And let me mention that it was highly recommended through CPS and through the uh, medical facilities of this equine center was one of the best in town.
Mm-hmm. So they were just because they were stalking you and trying to find anything, and Flashlight Guy didn't see any bruises on your kids, so he couldn't, so she, that one failed. So she's just hanging out waiting for something. She's just dragging things out so she could find something wrong. And when she finds out, because you called and said, hey, I did find out she has a hairline fracture since she's technically still a ward of the state or whatever. um, then I felt that you need to know. Tell us how you called.
I did. I got signal on my phone. I did not know that there was lead in the walls of the hospital facility. But when I found a spot, I sent a message out to the supervisor letting them know where I was and what happened and that things were being taken care of and medically everything was under control. But yet, the minute I got home, there was two huge guys pounding on my door, removing my kids, and told me I clearly had 30 days to let this go under investigation and I would get my kids back. It never happened.
That's what they always say. They always say, just this is just a formality. That's what they said to me too. That it just was um just let us go do this quick investigation just to rule this out, and then you'll get them back for sure. And but that's just to buy them time to get more evidence against you, so that they can, because she had an agenda, didn't she?
Yes,
This woman with 10 names had an agenda because she was connected over in Texas to a police officer who was connected to an adoption agency. Tell us about that.
correct. Um, when she was here in my home, she took pictures of my kids and sent it to them, and they advertised that they had been blessed with three children on their way to their home,
Hmm.
which were my kids. We were under legal litigation. We were under legal trying to get my name cleared, which I was cleared by two lawyers plus CPS lawyers plus CPS. I was cleared that I was not a perpetrator, but yet they still kept my kids and didn't return them. I have the legal right to have my name cleared,
Yes.
according to CPS, through 30 days, and I was cleared.
While you were off spending all this money on attorney fees to get your name cleared for something you didn't do, um, they were trafficking them across state lines. And they
Yes,
had already had their eyes on this police officer and his family and this particular adoption agency. Do we want to say their name? The adoption agency in Texas?
at this time, no.
No. Okay. So, but it wasn't even CPS over there. It was like a third party adoption agency.
Correct.
And that this couple went through and they wanted to adopt. It was clear from the get-go that they were not just holding these kids for you to get your name cleared, and they knew what was going on. They were holding them you know, until they could adopt them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Nobody lost their rights. No, you didn't lose your grandparent rights. Your son didn't lose his parental rights, yet they adopted your kids
Mm-hmm.
to this family. And then what did and how did you find out? Tell them how the family emailed you.
Yes, they did. They told me that I was too negative to be around their kids and that they were the parents. They wouldn't let me have a picture. They wouldn't let me talk to them, nothing. They took the coloring books away from them, the crayons away from them, the teddy bears away from them that I had given them. Those were things that were security for them, and they removed them. They didn't want them to have my phone number, my name. They wanted me completely banished from their lives.
So, so this whole thing is unconstitutional deprivation of rights under the color of law is what it's called. There's no legal standing here for any of these people who have trafficked your children because CPS has to give the children to their next of kin. That is what they're supposed to do first and foremost. And unless that person has been declared unfit, and nobody is unfit here. Uh, and again, they make things up and they try to make you unfit. But in your case, you kept fighting and it didn't work. So then
The
what happened
woman,
next?
the woman from Texas, um, she gave me 5 minutes to get, quote, closure with my grandkids because she said she was late and she was running behind. And when she walked out of the hallway with my grandchildren, there was huge people that surrounded me and kept me away from saying my last goodbyes, and the kids could not see my tears or my emotions as they walked away with them. I was surrounded like I was a criminal. Everyone was in agreement except for that one person that came to my home,
The
the
woman with
one with the several names.
okay.
Yeah.
Everybody said, oh, this is a close cut case. Momo gets the grandkids. She's clearly raised them. They have a relationship. It's a done deal.
Yeah. I've had them since they were in diapers.
Yeah. So, but woman with 10 names had a friend. Tell them
Mm-hmm.
about the police. Can we say the police officer in
Mm-hmm.
Texas who wanted to adopt? Tell them about him.
He was the one that participated in sending me, I call it a nasty gram, that he was the parent. That I had no, I was not to have any correspondence with the kids because they didn't trust me. I was too negative to be around their kids. It's not their kids. I'm sorry. It'll never be their kids.
No. But what people need to understand is that when you have someone that's also an officer of the court,
They play favoritism to the officers. Yes.
yes. So whatever, yes,
Conflict. Yes.
yes. So they were supposed to be babysitting these kids just long enough for you to get them, but instead they wanted children and wanted to adopt them and definitely got their way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it says here in your notes, I think on January 24th of 23, you received a certified letter from CPS, New Mexico, stating that they conducted an investigation and found you guilty of medical neglect. An investigation could not have been possible um, because it occurred at equine therapy and they never interviewed the woman that was doing the equine therapy. They never interviewed her.
That is correct. They didn't go to her facility. They didn't call her. They didn't check out the place where the kids were going. And there were several kids going, not just mine. It was a rotation of different kids that were going there, and they were doing wonderfully. They had group events. They had outings for the kids there. They had summer camps there. It was a wonderful place. But they never called them. They never went over there. They never contacted them. They just ruled that I was a perpetrator to my child.
So, and just so that they could get them adopted out, because everybody on their end wins if that happens. You're the only
Mm-hmm.
one that loses, and the children. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about next was that they tried to, and then we're going to have to wrap up, but they tried to say, if you'll cut a deal, all the attorneys, including your current one, if you'll just cut a deal and ask for visitation, you could have Zoom visitations. Okay, my mind is blown by that you would want, they kidnap your children that you raised, and now they're saying, if you don't tell on us, Momo, we'll let
Hmm.
you visit them on Zoom. How do
Hmm.
you feel about that?
I'm outraged. I'm totally flabbergasted that the thought was even there. There are
Yeah,
children that actually need families. There are children that actually want homes.
yeah,
These children had a home.
yes,
They have family.
yes,
Take a child that doesn't have anyone,
right,
not one that belongs to someone.
right.
These are my grandchildren. I love them more than anything in the world. They were happy here. I was happy that they were here.
What's their name? Can you tell us their name
Lexi, Nicholas, and Justin.
and their ages?
Um,
When they took them, how old were they when they took them from you?
um, God, it was 2022. So, uh, 6, 7, and 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, when we have looked at pictures of them on Facebook from the adoptive family, you and I both agreed that they don't look
they're not happy.
happy.
They're traumatized.
And
They're
as a teacher, I've learned to read facial
Mhm.
expressions in children. And so, yeah. Um,
they're being told, call me mom and dad, and they know it's not mom and dad.
uh-huh.
They're being dressed like clones.
So,
They have no individuality, no personality anymore.
and so what I hope that this happens, if we can get you some exposure, um, I hope this can go to the Supreme Court because this is what needs to happen to help everybody else. And in my state, which is Illinois, there was a landmark case. I've talked to you about it several times, really quick, so everybody knows the Baby Richard case, where the dad was also not given rights to the child, didn't even know there was a child, was told it was a that she had a miscarriage or something. The his ex and then he found out about the child and said he wanted custody. It had already been adopted out. He went to the Supreme Court. He filed a 1983 deprivation of rights. They went back and forth. At the end of the day, Supreme Court had to uphold his rights because he was not declared unfit. He was not. He didn't even know there was a child. So they had to say that the adoption was done illegally and they had to overturn it, but then the adoptive parents didn't want to give the child back. It made national headlines. It was a big deal, and were putting their 2 cents in. This was in the 90s. They went back and forth. Finally, he files habeas corpus, and they are forced immediately to relinquish the children. And that's how he got. So it's the same thing in my mind because he too was not told, do you want your children? He just was written off. And that is unconstitutional. And so there is nothing about this case that has any legal standing. I mean, it's just, I'm looking through it and it's just, the whole thing is unconstitutional. And the fact that we even have to go back in and fight about this is irritating because these people they need to be trying to cut a deal with you for visitation because you are the legal guardian for those children. I mean, nobody could legally take that away from you. It's kidnapping. It's we can't call it anything other than kidnapping. And so if there's anything before we go, like that you would want to say to them, to your grandchildren, what would you?
I how much I love them, how much I miss them, how much I want to hold them and just hug them and tell them I'm here for them. But I don't want this to happen to anybody else. I want my voice heard so that this does not happen to any other parent or grandparent. We have rights. They are our family. So I hope and I pray that this does not continue. And I'm just devastated for it to happen to other people.
It does. It does. I talk to people in every state, and it's the same Ponzi scheme in every state.
They have not only destroyed my name, degraded, belittled me, but they destroyed the kids from a home that they've known since diapers. They loved being here.
Hmm.
So it's not just me, but it's them also that they destroyed. To destroy a child is just the most horrific thing that anybody could ever do.
Yes, and
I'm their Momo, and I'm like their second mama.
yes, yes. To lose your mother, when
They want you to tell the kids exactly what happened to their mom. I refuse. I cannot put that in their little hearts or in their little heads of how horrific their mother died.
yeah, and they
They
need,
think it's COVID, leave it at COVID.
yeah, and they needed you after that. They needed their second mom
Yep.
after that, and you had a good relationship with their mom, and she stayed with you for a while, and you guys were, uh, they were doing okay. Yeah. So anyway,
Yep.
there was no evidence anywhere that you would be anything less than a model parent or grandparent. And so I'm going to try to get as many people as I can to be aware of this. We're going to be praying for you, that God intervenes in this situation because I don't care how powerful CPS is. It is your inalienable right to be a grandparent, and they have taken away your God-given right, and they need to be accountable for that. And you need justice, and you need your kids back immediately. I'm gonna keep speaking up on my page about your case. I'm gonna keep getting the word out, and I'm gonna see if I can get everybody to watch this video. So thank you so much for telling your story, and keep telling it. And I'm gonna get everybody praying for this, and I really, really, really hope we get to go to the Supreme Court and get change made and have your case be one that is sets a precedent that
Yes.
constitutional rights are still a thing.